Good afternoon to Dr. K. So today I'm going to present about my FYP1 entitled Students, Lecturers and Administrators' Opinions Towards the Dress Code in Unimas. So first of all, we're going to start with our core articles. As you can see, I have came out with more than 10 articles that discuss one common issue, which is the dress code issue, but in different perspective. This core articles plays major important role where it acts as a backbone for my FYP. So mostly core articles such as Alexander 2017, Alston Stadion 2013, Byron 2016, Ursman 1998, Halim 2012, Sowell 2012, Keys 2013, Sakura 2014, Hassan Russia 2011, KV 2015, Kano 2013, Anderson 2012 discuss a lot of issues with regards to the dress code, because some of the articles discuss about the students' academic achievement with regards to the dress code, and some of the articles discuss about the freedom of expression with regards to the dress code of students, mostly in university level, mostly in school levels, and some of the articles in university levels where they discuss the impact of dress codes, where because the adherence of dress code in university is decreasing day by day, and some of the articles discuss about the student performance with dress code or with dress code and without dress code. So all of these articles actually acts as a backbone for my literature review, where I was able to came up with a lot of evidence backing up my points. So these articles helped me to came up with the title Students, Lecturers and Administrators' Opinions Towards the Dress Code in Unimas. As for the background of study, it can be seen that the debates of the dress code policy, it's a never-ending story and it received much attention. Both government and education institutions, they have introduced several strict dress code rules. So this actually gained a lot of criticism from the student sides and also worker sides, where most of them disagree with the introduction of this dress code policy. So it is very important to know their opinions, because some of the opinions it's not tally with what the government have introduced. Mostly it's negative opinions, where some of them say it actually restricts their freedom of expression and it doesn't help with their academic achievement and whatnot. So to know their opinions of students, lecturers and administrators regarding the dress code, it's very important, and that's what this FYP is all about. So moving on to the next is the problem statement, which is the heart of the thesis. So recently, Faculty of Economics and Business in Unimas ran a dress code campaign where they encouraged students to dress according to the dress code guidelines and wear covered shoes when attending lectures or even around the faculty. However, this campaign objective was not fully achieved because most of the students does not adhere to the dress code guidelines when dressing and do not wear covered shoes. What may lead this to happen? As you can see, students are generally identify about their level of education and affiliation from formal dress since ages. There are also many cases where student has been shamed, dress coded, punished or even sent out of the class for what they are wearing. So as you can see, although many things dress code is actually good, where it trains students for professional practice and also it's tally with academic achievement. However, there are also some who says that it restricts students' freedom of expression. It's financial burdens for students to purchase formal clothes. It causes health issues and it reflects way too much authoritarian style. So all of these elements, there are also some positive and negative. So as you can see, what I want to analyze is whether all of this have to do with the dress code. So that's the reason, because most of the studies they have conducted, it's mostly about academic achievement and freedom of expression, but what they are not giving priority, it's about the opinions, most importantly the opinions of students and more so in university level. So this study will investigate about the students, lecturers, and administrators' opinions towards the dress code, because once we get the answer to this problem, which is by knowing their opinion, we'll be able to construct the solution whether to have a dress code or not. So that is basically what the problem statement is all about, which to discuss the students, lecturers, and administrators' opinions towards the dress code. As for the two pictures, the first picture is whereby the poster that FEB came out with during the dress code campaign, where it shows that FEB is a covered shoes zone. And the second picture is I took it from the student handbook, where it shows that the only acceptable clothes that students should wear or advisable to wear. So next will be the research questions and research objectives. As you can see, first questions, then comes the objective. Before even starting the FYP, when FEB recently came out with the dress code campaign, there are several questions that popped out in my head, where I thought, what would be the students, lecturers, or even administration opinions towards this? Will I be able to get a positive opinion from them, or will I able to get a negative opinion from them? So all of these questions was helpful for me to came out with this FYP. So basically for this FYP, the research questions will be: what is the opinions of two students towards the dress code? What is the opinions of lecturers towards the dress code? What is the opinions of administrators towards the dress code? What is the opinions of academicians holding admin posts towards the dress code? What is the opinion of university admin staff towards the dress code? So as for the objective is to find out the students' opinions towards the dress code, to find out the lecturers' opinions towards the dress code, to find out the administrators' opinions towards the dress code, and to find out the academicians holding admin posts opinions towards the dress code, and also admin university staff opinions towards dress code. So the significance of study. The significance of this research will benefit three different perspectives: the academia, university officials, and also the organization. As for the academia, this research is the exploration of students, lecturers, and administrators' opinions towards the dress code in Unimas. So subsequently, the data and finding of gain from this research would be likely assist academics as a source of perspective in their future research. Secondly, for university officials, where the students, lecturers, and administrators' opinions towards the dress code in Unimas can provide helpful insight to university officials who are struggling to establish and implement a dress code for students. Secondly, organization. As for the organization, it will help to recruit employees, because in future more machines will take over humans. So basically, some doctor company does not require workers to dress according to the dress code policy, because they are giving importance to skills more than how they are dressed. The scope of study. The scope of study for this research will be students, lecturers, and administrators in Unimas. This is because students who are studying here and administrators and lecturers who are working here for a longer period of time, they have a lot of knowledge and experience in answering questions rather than asking outsiders. So their opinions are mostly accurate and valuable. That will be helpful for this research study. So as for the limitation of study, the elements that are used in identifying the opinions towards the dress code is freedom of expression, academic achievement, professional practice, financial burden, health issues, and authoritarian system. So this is contrary to determine which opinions are appropriate to be in identifying their opinions. So more so, this study is limited to only students, lecturers, and administrators in Unimas, and their opinions may be varied because of the level of position, knowledge, and experience. Thus, as for the organization of chapters, Chapter 1 consists of problem statement, background of study, research questions, research objectives, scope of study and limitation of study that has been discussed. And Chapter 2 would be the past analysis and scope of studies, conceptual framework, and hypothesis development, and followed by chapter 3, which is the aim and research access of data. So as for the chapter summary, we have discussed the scope of study and purpose of study, and which it results in investigating the students, lecturers and administrators' opinions towards the dress code in Unimas. So as for the chapter 2, which is the literature review, is based on the past studies to back up the elements that I have came out with by providing a lot of evidences. So basically this literature review consists of two parts, which is the dress code and the students, lecturers and administrators' opinions towards the dress code with regards to the 6 elements, which is restricts freedom of expression, students' freedom of expression, academic achievement, professional practice, for IR 4.0, financial burden, health issues and authoritarian system. So as for the dress code, past studies of Halim 2012 shows that in UITM more than 50% of students does not adhere to the dress code policy. As for the freedom of expression, Kylan 2000 states that while the implementation of a university dress code faces many obstacles, perhaps the argument that a dress code impedes an individual's freedom of expression possesses the greatest challenge. Moving on to the next is the academic achievement. Nowadays, university authorities are way too much concerned about their students' dressing styles rather than their academic excellence. So, but according to the research studies by Bursma 1998, it shows that there is no positive relationship between students' academic achievement and dress code. More so, a comparative study has been conducted where it shows that students who are not wearing formal attire are able to score more marks in maths tests compared to students who wear formal attire or dress code or adhering to the dress code policy, according to the research done by Sowell 2012. As for the professional practice, it is said that supporters say that I train students for the professional practice more so in the Industrial Revolution 4.0. But according to Bojwani 2019, it says that more companies announce it's relaxing its dress code. This is an attempt to shift towards a workplace to a more casual environment. So it's the new company policy where it allows flexible attire for employees to make their clients to feel more comfortable and confident with their team. She also states that with more young people entering the workforce, workplace habits are continuing to evolve to fit the culture of young generations who prefer more casual attire. So this shows that more companies are beginning to move to a more casual dress culture and not just on important dates such as corporate dates. So in this case, university should teach students in acquiring more skills rather than adapting or to follow rules such as following dress code rules, because in this IR or Industrial Revolution 4.0, it is stated that skills are companies are giving priorities to skills more than how a person dress. So skills such as critical thinking, problem solving, decision making plays major role in conducting whatever tasks that we are doing apart from what that we are wearing. This is because more machines will take over humans. So in order to operate that, skills it's very important rather than dress code. As for the financial burden, Caruso 1996 argues that the dress code cause an economic hardship for students and parents who cannot afford them. For health issues, it is said that most of the school in Scotland, for health issues, as mentioned by 2020, most of schools in UK, for example in Scotland, where most of the schools are moving from formal dress code attire to more casual attire, most in the time of pandemic, to prevent the transmission of the virus. So this shows that casual dress code reduce the transmission of virus compared to the formal attire, where these casual dress codes are easily washable compared to the formal attire. So not only that, even weather plays an important role, where hot weather causes students to have illness such as or causes students to have skin problems, rashes, or even high body temperature due to the formal attire where they usually fully cover up from top to bottom. So this makes not only the movement restricted, but it also causes skin rashes. So this is why most of the university students wear dresses that are comfortable for them. So usually they dress down due to the weather condition, and also more so in the time of pandemic we can see that a lot of schools, not only schools, even companies are changing from formal attire to casual attire to prevent the transmission of the virus. And lastly, this dress code also reflects way too much authoritarian system. This is because, according to SBEHAVIOUR 2012, pointed out that uniforms and dress codes become a further step in authoritarian control. In Malaysia, the AKU 1971 Act have translated into increased pressure on lecturers and students to stay on track and follow prescribed curriculum, with little opportunity for students to explore or uh, or to engage them more widely from what they can do. It is also said by this AKU 1975 1971 where it controls the students' activities. More so, one of the example will be where and students' activities and how students can dress. So this can be seen when in students' handbook of every university, where there are only listed acceptable clothes on acceptable clothes for students and how one should dress. As for the theory of planned behavior was used in this FYP1. So basically the theory consists of attitude towards behavior, subjective norms, perceived behavioral control, intention and behavioral. So this explains how attitude, subjective norms and perceived behavioral control work as predictors to intention and action. So the first predictor factor, which is the attitude, refers to the way of people thinking about something. So thus in this study, attitude towards the behavior refers to the students, lecturers and administrators' opinions towards the dress code in Unimas. So as for the subjective norm, which believes that specify individuals or groups to think whether he or she should perform or not to perform the behavior. So in this case study, the subjective norm is the university expectation, because university expectation expected to influence students, lecturers and administrators' opinions towards the dress code, either to have dress code or not to have dress code. As for the perceived behavioral control, in this study it refers to the extent to which students, lecturers and administrators' opinions perceived ease or difficulty to conform to the university dress code. So the sixth dimension will represent the perceived behavioral control, which consists of freedom of expression, academic achievement, professional practice, financial burden, health issues and authoritarian system. As for the conceptual framework, it is represented by independent variables and dependent variables. As you can see here, we have 6 independent variables, which is the freedom of expression, academic achievement, professional practice, financial burden, health issues and also authoritarian system. While the dependent variable is the students, lecturers and administrators' opinions towards the dress code that will lead to the opinion whether to have dress code or not to have dress code. So this connection between the independent variable and the dependent variable, it's clearly mirrored in the conceptual framework. So more so, this will able to deduce about the research and the connections between the variables. As for the hypothesis development, there are 6 hypotheses that has been created. So the first one is the relationship between freedom of expression and students, lecturers and administrators' opinion towards the dress code are negatively correlated. The second hypothesis will be the relationship between academic achievement and the students, lecturers and administrators' opinions towards the dress code are negatively correlated. And the third hypothesis will be the relationship between professional practice and students, lecturers and administrators' opinions towards the dress code are negatively correlated. And the fourth hypothesis will be the relationship between the financial burden and students, lecturers and administrators' opinion towards the dress code is positively correlated. And the fifth hypothesis will be the relationship between the health issues and students, lecturers and administrators' opinions towards the dress code, which are positively correlated. And the last one is the last hypothesis, which is the relationship between authoritarian system and the students, lecturers and administrators' opinions towards the dress code, which are positively correlated. So that is the 6 hypotheses that has been developed through this FYP. For this chapter summary, overview discussed with field of researchers, for example, past studies and evidences for back up the points. So the research objectives have been created and also 6 hypotheses have been created for this research. For this chapter, as for the chapter 3 methodology, the research design is quantitative, which is the use of questionnaire. Type of study is descriptive research, and the unit of analysis is students, lecturers and administrators in Unimas from 5 different faculty, which is the Faculty of Applied and Creative Arts, Faculty of Social and Human Development, Faculty of Resource and Science Technology, Faculty of Economic and Businesses, Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities. For survey instruments, it's the distribution of questionnaire. The data collection method used in this research is primary data and secondary data. The population sample is inside Unimas and Unimas people, which consists of students, lecturers and administrators. So the questionnaire design, according to the questionnaire design, the questionnaire consists of 10 segments, and the data analysis, for the data analysis will be analyzed by utilizing the SPS 24, and for the statistical analysis and descriptive analysis, it will be conducted with the use of reliability analysis, which is Kronzberg coefficient alpha, by using Kronzberg coefficient alpha, Pearson's correlation analysis, and also multiple linear regression analysis. So that is basically for chapter 3. And moving on to next is the summary of questionnaire, where, as I've said before, this questionnaire consists of 10 segments, where the first one will be the preliminary questions, followed by the demographic profile, dress code, freedom of expression, academic achievement, professional practice, financial burden, health issues, authoritarian system, and also students, lecturers and administration opinions towards dress code as an outcome variable. So that is basically for chapter 1, 2 and 3. Thank you.